to Ridge Runner Blades live stream. We have a special guest with us tonight. A very special guest. Mr. Tim himself from Ouroboros Forge.
Yeah, thanks for
Did I say
having me.
that right? Did I say that right?
Ouroboros Forge. Yep.
Good deal. So we're going to talk. I'm trying to get Instagram live here. There we go. Now we're live on Instagram. All right, good deal. So we're going to talk about some new stuff that we just got in. So really excited about it. We got some what he calls the Hugans in, and the mini version. What do you call it? Without
The
tagging
Moonin. So it's the Hugin and the Moonin, and just a quick description of the name, like that's from Norse mythology. It's the two ravens that Odin has, and he sends them out into the world, and they kind of like report on all the happenings. Their names mean memory and thought, and they report back to Odin on like everything that's going on, and that's kind of how he knows about everything. So it's in special operations, at least within MARSOC. I'm sure it's. I mean, actually, just because I've worked with different branches, it's a huge part of the culture, like Vikingness,
Sure.
type deal. So I was very much into that in the past, and that's where the naming convention came from.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just dig into some of these things and take a look at them because I'm super excited about them, and we have a nice big pile of them here on the table. So we've got a Hugin here with. So I know everybody wants the specs on it, and I meant to grab a tape measure, but you were kind enough to put the measurements on the tag, which is super nice. So the Hugin, can you walk us through a little bit about what's the purpose of this?
Yeah. So
Like, what's the thought behind it?
Yeah, so as I alluded to earlier, I was in special operations for a while, for I think 12 years. I served in MARSOC. I was in the Marine Corps for 18, and during that time, we get issued a ton of stuff. And one of the things we got issued was the SOC P dagger, and that's Special Operations Combative Program. It's a martial art that they teach us. That we use during CQB, which is close quarters battle, and the SEALs, they call it CQC, which is close quarters combat. And that's essentially like clearing houses and stuff like that, clearing rooms. And, in those situations, like you might encounter someone as you like come around a corner or something, there might be someone like right there, and you may not be able to process that target in time, and he might wrap you up. And if he wraps you up, obviously you're not going to be able to use your rifle. So the idea is that you need to be able to create space so that you can get to your main weapon system. And let's say, for instance, in this scenario, you get wrapped up and then you fall over, because when the thing is a lot of people see these videos of these high speed guys like running through rooms real quick and stuff like that. But in real life, there's like furniture and, things like that all over the place. And so it's very easily to, especially if someone wraps you up, to like fall over and trip. And so in this case, if you're wrapped up and you can't use your rifle, your next best weapon would be your pistol. And so if you can't get to your pistol for whatever reason, the next best thing after that would be your knife. And daggers are awesome, right? But the chances that you're going to be in a situation where you're actually going to have to stab someone is extremely low. And so these guys, everyone on the team got the SOC P dagger, and we all had them on our kit, but they never got used. Because the geometry of a dagger, yes, it's a knife and it's sharp and it can cut stuff, but it's really horrible at doing anything except for penetrating people, which is what it's meant for, right? And so what ended up happening is no one used the dagger. It never got taken out of its sheath, and so you would end up having to carry another knife on you for all the other tasks. And so at the time when I was on a team, I wasn't making knives. So it was very irritating to have to carry more stuff on you, because we have this saying called ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain. You want to have things that have multiple purposes, because you don't want to have a bunch of crap all over your kit. And so if you have a knife, if you can have just one, that's ideal, is instead of having like 3 or 4 or something, And so when I became an instructor, I actually had some free time, and that's when I started making knives. So I aimed to solve that problem. Like, what could I make that would still fit the bill for penetration of people, but also allow me to do all the normal stuff that we do all the time? Like cutting 550 cord and opening boxes and cutting lashings and stuff like that. And
Mm.
so this is a very purpose driven design, and and I mean, really, that's where the birth of it came from. The center, the point of the knife, this is in the center of the center line of the knife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The false edge creates that geometry for easier penetration, for like that triangular wound cavity.
Mm-hmm.
And the length of the knife is so that it can actually hit vital organs and stuff like that. And then obviously the curve of the spine as well as the curve of the belly is better for EDC tasks. And so if you look at the handle and the ring, the reason why there's a ring there is because, like, going back to kind of what I was explaining from before, when you're in that situation where you might actually have to use it on a person, you're going to be an extremis. Your body is going to be freaking out, and there's some benefits to that, but there's also some drawbacks. And the benefit would be because you're like trading, benefits and drawbacks. And in this case, when you're an extremis, you gain endurance, you gain strength, you gain focus and attention, or more like tunnel vision, but you trade your fine motor skills. And so
Yeah.
if you need to grab a knife and someone's on top of you trying to kill you or something,
Yep.
and you need something that's very easily deployable and that you're not going to lose and be able to retain. And so in this case, it has a ring, right? And there's already I can already hear people being like, well, you can be degloved, right? Which is true. If you have a ring, there is a drawback, which is if say your hand gets caught in something and there's a lot of force taking the ring out of your
Yeah.
hand, the ring is going to follow the path of least resistance, which is through your flesh, which it can tear off the flesh of your finger.
Sure.
Right. So there is that risk. The issue though is like there was people that came up with an answer to that, and that was, I have one of the blanks right here. I can show you. Like, their
Yeah.
answer was to have a very dramatic angle change in the handle without
Mm-hmm.
the ring, and that allows people to kind of scoop up
Yep.
into the knife and
Sure.
bring it out in extremis, because
Yeah.
you're using your whole hand to grab it, right? Which is
Yeah.
good. The issue then becomes retention. And
Sure.
so when you're in extremis, and especially if you're doing CQB, let's say the guy's on top of you, you create that space, you get him away from you. What you're going to want to do right after that is go to your next best weapon, which is going to be your pistol. I have my pistol here with me, so like there's nothing in here. We'll just double check it so that you guys can see, right? But when it comes to using your pistol, you get the guy off of you, you can see that I can still hold the knife in my hand as I use my
Yep.
pistol. And that's extremely important because I can retain this knife as
Yeah.
I do that, right? Because here's the issue. Some people might say, well, like, who cares in that situation? Just get them off you, throw your knife down, go to your pistol, and then continue
Yep.
to fight, right? Get your main weapon system up, get into
Mm-hmm.
that next room, and push the fight into the other rooms. But the issue then becomes you just lost your knife, and
Yeah.
you're in extremis, so you're not thinking about it. You're not going to remember where it's at. And
Right.
then, let's say a couple rooms down the line or whatever, someone gets shot, and you need to open an occlusive dressing for like a sucking chest wound or something, right? Now
You don't have your knife.
exactly. And so
Yeah.
retention of your tools is very important, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the advantage that this has. And even with that angle change, if you have blood on your hands or oil, like if you're taking down a ship, BBSS, whatever, and you
Yep.
have oil on your hand, you're going to be more likely to slip out of that handle than this. This locks it in.
Yep.
So there is an inherent risk in using a ring blade, but the benefit outweighs the risk in being able to retain your blade, being able to not lose your blade while you're creating that space
Yep.
and using your pistol. And then you can put your pistol away, holster your knife, and then get your main weapon system back up and get back in the fight.
Yep.
So it's a very purpose-driven knife, which is why a lot of, like, once I started making it, I used to forge these initially, which that's a very
Ooh.
difficult knife to forge. Yeah, it would take me forever.
Also, it'd be super expensive. Like
Yeah, yeah,
ridiculously expensive
yeah.
too.
Right. Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
just for YouTube terms and services, just so you know, any firearm related things that were used on live stream are actually airsoft. So
Oh yeah. Well,
we're
yeah.
using
I
airsoft.
wouldn't
So
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
so I've heard you talk about the whole degloving thing,
Yeah.
and I think that's such a minor thing. If you're having to use this in that type of situation, would you rather have be missing a finger or be dead? And
Yeah.
so, like, that's such to me, that's like a minor thing. And I get why people are critical and everything, but if I'm using this in a self defense scenario, my finger's the last of my worries.
Yeah, and you got to
Like,
also think too, like what's going to have enough power to deglove you?
right?
Not a person.
Yeah.
It's not
Oh
going to
no.
be. It's not going to be someone grabbing
But
it out of
trying
your
to, yeah,
hand. It's
yeah,
going to be something like you're getting into a bird or something, right? Or
sure,
like a helicopter, and
yeah,
you get it for whatever reason. It's in your hand, and
yeah,
it gets caught up on something. It's got to be something
sure,
pretty dramatically powerful to
yeah,
do something like that.
yeah.
So the chances of that are pretty low. But and I'll throw this out there too. Um, the whole being able to use it with your pistol, that is a feature of the knife. It's not like the best part of the knife, if that makes sense. Like
Sure.
it shouldn't, that feature should not be the only reason why you're purchasing a Hugin, because
No.
the chances that you're going to be stabbing someone in that sort of situation are extremely low. And actually, you really want that to be low. You don't want that to be a situation that
Oh
you're in.
yeah.
Just understand that it is capable of doing that, and this is
It,
through just our training, right? That's why I put that feature into the knife. But really, the main thing is that you have a tool that is both EDC. It's like a tactical EDC, I guess you could say, in the
oh,
fact,
very much so.
or like a combative EDC is really a better
And
description.
one thing I really like about the handles on this knife is it's big enough without using the ring for the full hand.
Hmm.
So you can still use the full hand without putting your hand in the ring. I mean, to me, I don't know why you wouldn't, because it's super cool, and I mean, you can flip it around and have a ton of fun with it. But it is big enough to actually use without putting your hand in the ring, the way it works. I think it's the perfect. I think it's the perfect size. I love it.
Mhm.
This
Yeah,
is, I think, great for a guy that I don't have one on me, but there's a lot of guys out there now carrying these like chest, like I don't know if are you familiar with SOE,
no,
the special operations equipment bags and stuff.
I,
Have a
I'm
ton of his stuff. He builds a lot of stuff for a lot of the teams and stuff too. But
mhm.
he makes this thing. He calls it the FUPA. But a lot of the guys are carrying them as like chest rigs. So it's like a bag. It's just like a sling bag, and they'll carry it like right here, and they'll
Mhm.
carry their pistol in it. It's
Oh, okay,
it's
yeah.
really conducive. I think this guy right here is the perfect knife, and you call this the Moonin.
Yeah.
I think the Moonin is you could actually slide this in the back of that bag, and it would be super handy. Wipe some oil off of it. You oil them up nice.
Yeah.
So this one has a little bit shorter blade. It's a 1/4 inch shorter, but the overall length is 1.5 inches less. Now it looks like the ring is still the same.
Yep.
Pretty much the outside. Let me pull this up here. The outside. So this is the moon in here. The outside ring. The outside of the ring is just slightly less. The thickness is less, but the
Mhm.
inside's the same. Is that size important? Like, what was the thought behind the actual diameter of the inside of the ring? Was
Yeah.
there?
So yeah, the diameter comes from. I took the size of the diameter from the sock P dagger,
Yeah.
and,
Okay.
and
So
yeah, and the reason I did that was because a lot of the team guys, we were all used to using the sock P dagger and training and whatnot, and so I needed not only to be able to have it to be easily and quickly deployable, but
mhm.
also for it to be an easy transition for dudes that were on the team to
Yep.
not have to like relearn how to use a knife, or
Sure.
like
Yeah.
a lot of those. Because the thing is when you're an extremist, like this whole like I'm gonna rise up to the occasion and stuff. That's a bunch of bull. It's not what
Yeah.
happens. Like you fall back on your training, and so
Yep.
I wanted it to be a very easy transition for guys to be able to draw the knife, and so that the diameter is like I think it's 1.1 inches is the diameter of the hole, the inside of the hole, and that comes directly from the sock P dagger. So you can use it both barehanded with gloves, with like mechanics gloves. I'm not
Yeah,
saying don't have winter gloves and expect your finger to fit in there.
sure.
But
But regular operator gloves.
yeah, that's just fine with it.
Now, this is the rare bird in the batch,
Yeah.
and this is a double sided Hugin.
Yep. Double
That
edged.
is wicked. That is
Yes.
just wicked.
That one is
I
more
actually
adage driven for sure.
so a bunch of the guys watching this stream right now, we have a mutual friend named Overton Windex. He has a really cool YouTube channel, and I've already mailed one of these out to him. He's really excited about it. However, I can't remember if I mailed him. I literally held him up and I said pick, but he couldn't see the blade. I was like, pick which handle you want, and that's the one I mailed. So I can't remember if he's getting a double edged one or not, but we'll get him whichever one he wants, of course. But the that's pretty wicked, and you gave just enough ramp here just to keep your thumb away from that edge. I
Yeah.
just love the details that you go through, like the little details. When you hold this knife, you really can just feel the thought that went into it. Like every single thing about it, you thought about. You're probably one of the most analytical knife makers that I've ever met.
Yeah.
But
Just
every little single thing is like thought about, and I love that. It's so cool.
yeah. It
But
was
this sucker here is pretty wicked.
yeah. If any of the dudes that served with me were on the stream, they would agree with you. As the sensitive side exploitation guy, and like also like there was a time where they did what they called optimization, which like the thing about MARSOC that makes us like special or whatever compared to the other branches are the support that we bring with us.
Yep.
And they said that they were optimizing us, so they took all of our support guys, and so then I had to step up and then become the intel guy for target packages and stuff. And
Yeah.
I learned very quickly. I was already pretty analytical to begin with, but then I had to become very analytical to do that portion of the job.
Yeah.
So whenever I do something, it's always extremely thought out. Like because the thing is I don't like just making knives that are cool. I mean, obviously it looks cool, like form follows function, but I want it to be that. I want it to every part of the knife should have a purpose and not just like flair for coolness, if you will, because that may actually impede some of the function of the knife in my
Sure.
opinion.
You know, me and you have had quite a few conversations about originality and hey, just name where your stuff come from. Like you name it, like, hey, this is right off the Sog P dagger. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
But you have come up with a really very original design, and it's one of the first that I've seen in a while that's actually useful.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually different and useful, and I really appreciate that because there's just so many. So many knife makers, they just rip off the next guy and the next. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it's super awesome to see a very, very usable. I would EDC this thing. I will be EDCing one of these. And a lot of people. I see the double edge thing. You don't need a double edge on this knife.
No.
This sucker will penetrate anything you want to put it through, I'm sure, just fine without the double edge. But the double edge stuff is really cool for a lot of people. I'm just always worried about my thumb because I'm not used to carrying a double edge. I don't carry a dagger a lot. And so I know I've had some daggers from makers in the past. That was just... Man, there was no guard. There was no like choil, no nothing. I'm like, man, the first thing I would do is I would slice my hand wide open.
Oh, yeah.
And so this is, I think, the best of both worlds. EDC, you need to cut your boxes open. You need to cut your lunch up. This is great. If you go to a lot of hole in the wall taco joints like I do, they give you plastic silverware to cut a steak. Pull out your Hugin. Because it's just the geometry on this blade is beautiful.
Yeah,
it's just awesome.
And I can tell you a situation I was in actually recently where I was like, here's the thing, like I almost have no time ever to make myself a Hugin because they sell so fast.
Yeah.
And like the Hugin that I had, I ended up having like someone like really wanted one. I didn't have time, so I sold mine. And I found myself in a situation where I just had a folder on me, and there was this individual that I won't like give a location or anything, but this individual came in He was wearing a hat and sunglasses, and it was just really weird how the whole situation went
Oh
down.
yeah.
And he sat like 2 rows in front of me, and all of my red flags were going off. And obviously,
Yep.
I have some issues from having gotten out, like hypervigilance and all that
Sure.
other stuff. But this particular individual was like not. I could tell like something was up,
Yeah.
and I knew that I needed to, because there was a lot of other people around me, and I
Hmm.
was like, given the state of affairs. I mean, this was at church actually, and so
Yeah.
given
I could tell from the way you're saying.
yeah, some of the things that were happening, like this pastor getting shot and whatnot. This guy like just screamed to me that I need to watch him. And the first thing I thought of was like, okay, if something goes down and I have to do something, what am I going to use? And I was
Yep.
like, crap, dude. Like, all I have is a folder on me. So if I have to, I have to pull that out. I have to whip it out. Like, there's too many
Yep.
things that have to
Yep.
happen for me to utilize
Hmm.
the tool that I have on me. And I was like, this. If only I had a Hugin. I was like,
Yep.
dang it, why did I sell my Hugin?
I know.
And
I
so
know.
it's
And you know the thing is once people they start carrying fixed blades, if you start EDCing a fixed blade, you will never use a folder ever. Like you just don't. I mean, we carry a lot of knives from smaller makers, and there's something for everyone. I mean, we've got ones that slide in your pocket. We've got ones that you can scout carry on your. I mean, you just name it. You can set it up however you want it, and it's just so much. It's so much better. I mean, I love folders. I mean, I've got a gazillion of them,
mhm,
but I never use one ever. I mean,
yeah.
it's always a fixed blade,
Hmm.
you know. And so, I just really appreciate a lot of. I mean, you guys like Corey and you and Josh and Kyle and a bunch of these guys making these awesome stuff that you can use every day. It's art, and it's like we had a comment over here on YouTube from DH. He's a big viewer. He says, "Wow, that's a piece of wicked art." It's like it is. It's a beautiful, beautiful knife that you will not be scared to use every day. I think this is one of the coolest knives I've seen in a long time. Really, really excited about it. And the fit and finish is just perfect. We'll come in here close and look at one. It's just everything about it is just perfect. And guys, you're going to be really surprised at the price of these things. It is very, very, very affordable. I think it matches up extremely well in the market. It's something a lot different. And so, if you're looking for a really good EDC, something you can actually use, multiple faceted, self defense, whatever, this is it. This is the knife. It's perfect. Kelly over here on YouTube, he's a good customer. When are these going to be available? They are going to be available tomorrow. I will have these on the site tomorrow. I've got to do photos of them all. I got these things day before yesterday, and yesterday I finally got time to open the box for one, and or was it Friday night? I can't remember. My week's been crazy, and so I'm super excited about these. I know this is going to get asked, Tim.
Yeah.
What? So if somebody wanted to attach this to their kit, how would you recommend them doing it?
Yeah.
So malice clips, or
Well, so it depends on, and this is the reason why I didn't, because I used to include like an attachment, a type
sure,
of attachment, and then it just became a nightmare because everyone has their
sure,
own preference. But the way that I normally carry that on my person is with an Ulti clip, like the
yeah,
Ulti clip Slim 2.2, I
mm-hmm.
think it is.
Yep,
That's a really great way to pocket carry that thing.
yep,
So that's normally how I carry it. But on my kit, I used just 550 cord because
yeah,
what I would do is I would have my magazines right here, and I'd use I think they're called Blue Force. What they're like, these elastic magazine things. So just
mm-hmm.
three magazine
Yeah,
holders. Jeez,
yeah,
not working. But I'd slip it right behind there, and then I would 550 cord it or zip tie it to the Molly.
awesome.
And that's one of the things that like some people don't understand is like you really don't need a lot of super fancy high speed stuff to make stuff
Mm-hmm.
work. Like zip ties and 550
Yeah,
cord are great ways
mm-hmm.
to lash things on. So that's how I did it. And if I did need to remove it or whatever, because we always carried zip ties on us for a number of reasons for people and
Mm-hmm.
for, other stuff. And so I always had zip ties on me. So if I had to, I could just clip it off, go do something with it, or
Yep.
hand it off to someone and just zip tie it back on real quick. So,
Tell you what,
um,
the Muno would make a killer neck knife too.
yeah. Oh yeah.
That
And
would carry
so,
really nice on your neck.
yeah, and just wait. I had because we talked about this before. Tomorrow actually is going to be another batch of knives that goes out to you with some other
Yeah.
designs. One of which, so you got there's three knives in what I call the Raven series.
Yeah.
There's the Hugin, which is the mid-size one. There's the Moonin, which is the small one, the 3-finger version of the Hugin, which I carried the Moonin in concealed situations. So if I had to because in special operations, you're not running around in kit all the time. Sometimes you're wearing a suit, or sometimes you're in civilian attire. So I would carry a Moonin on me in that case so that I didn't have a huge footprint of a knife. So the 3-finger version's the Moonin, and then the largest of the Raven series is called the Raised Velgar.
Oh, I love that knife.
Yeah, that is a what's called a trailing point knife. So it's more for slashing. It's more of a full-on combative knife, but that you
Mm-hmm.
can use for EDCs. So,
Yeah.
or I mean, EDC tasks. So you'll be able to. You guys will see that come in the next, I don't know, week or so, or a couple days, however long the shipping takes. Yeah, but yeah, I forget what
Yeah.
I was telling you that, but
No, it's good. The so somebody asked, is that a bottle opener?
I mean, you could.
I bet you it would open. I don't have a bottle on me, but I bet you could
Yeah.
I bet it would pop a bottle perfect.
Yeah, it would.
That's kind of funny. Well, I love it, and we've talked a lot. You have a very interesting story that I hope this in the few coming months that we're able to actually video and tell this story. But your story in general is just amazing, and we won't go into we don't need to get into all that today. But I think it's cool that the way that you found knives as an outlet, coming out of the military. I think a lot of times those guys, man, they're just overlooked. They don't know how to get back in the civilian world. They don't
Yeah.
have that outlet to get their energy out, to get all that, just to put it out. And I think beating on steel is a lot better than, having to beat on heads or something.
Yeah.
So I look forward to hearing the whole story. There's a lot more, guys, about these knives than what we can even say tonight. The story behind these, the inspiration, and just Tim in general, it's pretty awesome. And I'm very, very, very proud to be able to represent you guys, because I think you guys are out to change the world, and I like being a part of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so the a lot of, if you look at a lot of Tim's knives, you'll see, I think it's cool how, and you're very open about where your inspiration and stuff comes from for a lot of your blades, but we have a good mutual friend named Jason Knight. Probably one of the best guys on the planet. And I've heard him called the father of modern bladesmithing. I think that's probably the best title that you could give the guy. He's influenced more people, whether they like to admit it or not. He's influenced more people than probably anybody out there in modern bladesmithing. And so it's cool that we've got that mutual connection too. If you see a lot of Jason, if you like Jason's stuff, Tim here came on high recommendation from Jason himself. And so it's really cool that we've got that something in common there. Probably back to kind of how we've got some questions here on. So we got Michael here. He says, I've been out since 92 and still ain't adapted.
Yeah.
I think that's a struggle a lot of people have. And Michael, you need to go over and follow Tim on Instagram. I'll put the spelling here so you can see it. Ouroboros Forge. It's probably mirrored, isn't it? Well, that's completely useless. It's the first time I've used this software, but it's mirroring it. So go over and check him out. You'll see. I'll be linking his Instagram on mine very soon. But go follow him. He's got some really cool messages. He's got some good messages for you guys. It's really neat. I really, really really like it. So Another guy has question. If you don't have, let's see here. If you don't have a strap, what's another good suggestion for strapping? I'll tell you how I'm going to carry this particular knife. Is I'm going to soft loop it and carry it on my belt. Most likely, that's the way I'm going to carry this particular blade. I think this would work good. The Moonin, where'd it go? It's amazing how you can lose stuff. I think this would make it a great pocket carry with an ulti-clip. It just slips right in your pocket with an ulti-clip. That would be a fantastic way to carry this. I sell a lot of knives without attachments. Don't let that scare you. Go to Amazon, pick your poison. You can literally, I don't carry a lot of attachment stuff. I'm going to in the future. But like knives like this, that's going to be soft looped on my belt. That's the way I prefer to carry stuff like this. But yeah, that's the nice thing about Kydex sheaths. The sky's the limit how you can carry it. How do you want to carry it?
You mind if I say something on that?
Jump in there. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are some people that kind of, and I kind of mentioned this earlier, the reason why I don't like put attachment or ways of attachment with the knife. One of the things that people forget is that, when you're making a product to be sold, if you include something like that, the price increases, right? And so if you then buy this knife, and obviously it's not going to increase dramatically for an attachment, but if you then buy this knife and then you don't like the attachment, now you just paid extra for this thing that you don't even want. So this is like not having the attachment included with it affords you the ability to get exact, because here's the thing, like especially with tactical stuff, it's all shooter preference. There are going to be people that have some pretty strong opinions on how you need to do things, but it's shooter preference. Like what works for you may not work for someone else. Like, I mean, there's been plenty of times being overseas, like, and that's the thing, like in special operations, we don't do a lot of, it happens, but we don't do a lot of like unilateral stuff, which just is like just us, like wreck and shop or something. It's always with a host nation force. And so we have to train these guys how to do stuff. And there was a point in time where I was like, I spent like all day trying to teach these dudes how to do a speed reload. And I was teaching them how we do it. And after no one said anything to me. And this is when I was a new guy. They're like, oh, well, Sergeant, like, why don't we just do this? And with the way that they did it was they would just stick their handgun out here and they would just take that. They were so good at this. I mean, I don't do it this way, but they would just drop the mag and then just stick it in there and they would be reloaded. And I was like, so after like 8 hours of training, I was like, oh yeah, I guess you could just do that. And so, and the reason why I tell that story is like, even though that's not how I would do it, that's what worked for them. And that's kind of the concept I'm trying to impart on you guys. It's like, there's no right way of doing this. It's all what works for you and what you're comfortable with. So, me trying to assume how you're going to carry whatever knife maybe isn't the best way of doing it. You got to find out what's good for you, through just use and practice.
Exactly. I think that's such a good way to put it. And the price is another thing. I mean, that people don't realize that, but if you have to buy ulti clips, you're going to have to raise the price $15-$20.
Yeah.
And it's just, or soft, or just whatever, it's always going to raise the price. And this is such a versatile knife that, there's no way you can please anybody with just one thing. There's just no way, because everybody's going to carry this thing different. I love it, man. Great. I'm excited about the next batch. Like I said, guys, we'll have these up on the website tomorrow. There's a couple I forgot to show a couple things here. There's a couple different versions, so we can talk about this for a second if you want. There's a slightly thinner, lower profile, and then one with a fuller handle. I'm sure that was intentional, like everything else. But it's very minor, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I would pick one over the other for what I would do. I don't know that I would pick. I like both of them. I don't think it's so. I mean, what's the difference there? It's not much.
No, so with the Hugans, that's literally just human error. I
Yeah,
know
I
uh,
see.
what you're going with, because the batch
I
that you're
see.
about to get
Yeah,
is the ones with my Osprey model,
got
and
you. Okay.
that's a recurve hunter, and those I've gotten, what's it called? I've gotten a lot of requests for
Yeah,
military guys that buy hunters from me. They're buying them because obviously they have great uses, but they still want something super low profile, like
yeah,
the Hugin. They're
I
like,
see. Yeah,
I have a Hugin, but I want something else that's cool or whatever. And so they're like, but I love the Hunter, but I want it as thin as possible because I want a small
yeah,
footprint on my kit.
yeah.
And so there are variations in the Hugins, but that's
Sure.
more of just a human error thing.
Yeah.
But
I don't
the
think it's literally you can barely. The only way I could see it is I've got as I
yeah,
had five together, so that's the
but
only way I
the
could even see it.
one thing I do want to point out though is with the whole using it with the pistol thing, just to kind of hit that one more
Hmm.
time. The difference, the big difference outside of like blade shape and all that with the handles and the feel of it with using it with the pistol with the sock P dagger versus the Hugin is the sock P dagger is a skeletonized knife, so there are no scales on it. There's no
Hmm.
handle scales, and so that makes it a lot thinner and less of an impediment with your pistol, right?
Right.
But that's because it's a combative knife and it's just for that. Whereas the Hugin, the reason why I didn't have it skeletonized is because you're like I said, the chances of you actually being in that situation to use it with your pistol are
Yeah.
so low. It has the ability to do that, but what you want is just like a chef that's going to be using a knife like 8 hours a day. If you're going to have to use this knife for a long period of time or a lot, you're going to want it to be comfortable. You want it to be a knife that you're going to want to grab and not like, I really don't want to use
Oh
that knife
yeah.
because it's not comfortable. So that's why it has the scales. I try to make them as
Yeah.
thin as possible without
It's
while still being comfortable. So
yeah.
that's yeah,
I love it, man. I love it. It's so comfortable. I mean, it's just that's a that is just a beautiful knife. I guess all of these basically are they're all micarta. So
yeah,
we've got black, we've got a really beautiful dark green. We talked about that. That's really cool. It's kind of you said like kind of a forest green.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and then we have one but natural micarta, which is just beautiful.
yeah.
I love natural micarta. We
Vintage.
have we have a question over here on Instagram or on Facebook. Brain work on YouTube. Will he make a trainer?
Yeah, I can. That's not something we've done a couple of those.
Hmm.
A lot of the times, and actually, what I'll probably do is just offer the blanks
Yeah.
as a trainer because there are some people that will do like an aluminum
Hmm.
or some, some sort of different whatever
Yeah.
material. But and I've had that before, like with other knives. Well, I mean,
Hmm.
for example, is a sock P dagger. You buy the sock P dagger, it comes with like a super bright red,
Yeah.
trainer or whatever. The issue with that, or that I found, is that they don't hold up to super hard
Yeah.
training, and especially if you're like throwing it around. When I was on a team, I really did not treat knives very well.
I
Like,
don't treat knives well at all now.
yeah. So,
Like,
and the trainer just got destroyed
hmm.
just from travel, let
Yeah.
alone actually using it because in the sock P martial art or whatever, they have these guys that are in all this like super like all
Hmm.
these crazy pads and stuff. And right when you turn the corner, you're like being attacked and like pummeled, and
Yeah.
you got to try to get him out of the way of the stack and deal with him as everyone else like clears the room or whatever and process targets. And so just in some of those, like in one of those scenarios, I broke one of the trainers because when you're in that situation, you're like super hyped up. So
Yeah.
especially for me, I'd get really hyped up and I would try to treat it like real. So I'd be trying to hurt this dude because he's trying to hurt me because it's usually another operator in like that pads, right? So
Yeah.
he's not a weak person. Like he's throwing you around. And so I broke a trainer. So what I'm probably going to do is just as a trainer is just going to be one of the unheat
Hmm.
treated blanks. And then I'll just dull the tip so you can't like injure someone
Yeah.
with it. So it'll be a lot stronger
Hmm.
than the bull that you buy from other companies or whatever.
Sure.
Because yeah,
Probably my favorite trainers that I've seen have been like just like Waterjet G10.
yeah, that's also
That
good.
that would work really good too.
Hmm. Yeah,
Just
and
a
then
little
you can
bit
use it as a non-metallic tool.
act. What is it? Wrangler Star says act accordingly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you could just do all kinds of stuff. Yeah, that would I think that would be really awesome to offer, especially guys that really want to train with it. You
Mhm.
know, I'm probably not going to do that. I'm just going to carry it and flip it around
Yeah.
uh, because it is super super cool. So, well, Tim, anything else we want to talk about?
No, just I guess look out for the
Yeah,
next drop because
yeah, we'll
it's
do another stream when they come in.
yeah, 'cause
Go
it's
over them too.
not just Hugins or the Moonin
Yeah,
or really it's not just the Raven series. I do a number of other designs
yeah,
that are super cool. So
yeah. We got some forge pieces coming in from you as well, which I'm
yeah,
super stoked about.
those are going to
Um,
be sweet.
yeah, I'm excited about that. So, the so I am stoked, man. I'm absolutely blown away. These we didn't even get anybody to ask how much they weighed. It's just questions, man.
Oh,
Like,
they're
they weigh.
super light. I don't
Yeah,
know how much they weigh. I couldn't tell you, but
I
I
know
would say that that's actually a focus of mine is because like I said, the
they
ounces
are.
equal pounds, pounds equal pain.
They
That's
know
why
they
I
weigh
also do
nothing.
with thinner kydex too.
Yeah,
So just for that reason, low profile, low weight, like but strength.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, dude, I appreciate it, man.
yeah,
Thanks
man,
for hanging out. And
absolutely.
you guys make sure you just watch tomorrow. Well, these things will be popping up. If you're on the mailing list, I'll be sending out an email as soon as these things drop. Um, oh, DH, what is your guest name? So this is Tim from Ouroboros Forge. I feel like I butcher that every single time I say it.
Yeah, I chose a
Because
really great
I'm
name.
because I am from the middle of nowhere in North Carolina, and I can't say fancy names. But go follow him over on Instagram. I'll be linking him over on Instagram as well. And when I repost this live, there'll be a link to his Instagram and everything in the description. So make sure you keep an eye out for that. You go follow. He does. So he has some really cool. You do some good Instagram stuff.
Oh yeah, thanks.
I like it. So
Yeah, and I'll hit on that just real quick,
yeah,
and then we'll end it. Like I'm super. So I had a lot of issues transitioning. I had a lot of issues while I was in, and so that's one of the things that I'm super open about. So those of you that have served or whatever and want some insight of what I did to try and like not lose myself or gain, get back some of myself. I also talk about that stuff on my Instagram as well. So you can go check that out. There's a couple of videos that go through some of that, and I'm going to be putting up more because. And real quick, I know I keep saying that, but the overarching goal of Ouroboros Forge is to turn it into a place. And I know there's other places that do this, but to turn it into a place that allows. I want to be able to take veterans that because the thing is that it took a lot for me to seek help, a lot, and I was like basically burning the world around me, and I didn't realize that I had the gas can in my hand. And once I realized that, and didn't want to lose my family, I was like, all right, I got to do something. So the thing is I know there's a lot of guys like me that were like hiding stuff because they didn't want to lose opportunities. Were too prideful, like all this stuff. And so I talk about that a lot. But anyways, what I want to do is I want to bring people that are having those issues to show them, like, pay for everything to where they come on a retreat, learn how to forge their own knife from start to finish, and then basically have like little powwows at night and just talk about seeking help, not about fixing people, because you can't do that in a week, all right? But the goal is to have it be a, what would you say? I guess a funnel for people to learn a positive coping skill, which is forging, because that helped me a lot, and then some tools that they can take with them to help on their journey, and then hopefully some motivation to seek help for themselves and their family. So So yeah, so I kind of throw some mental health stuff out there on the page as well, so you can check that out.
Yeah, I think that's, you take the normal dude, just the guy that he hasn't been trained to have no emotion and, no, just completely, he hasn't been through special forces training or anything. It's hard enough for him to get help for stuff.
Hmm.
I can't imagine how hard it is for the guys coming out of the military that's just, that's just ingrained in you.
Hmm.
That'd be a tough thing to overcome. But
Yeah.
you know what? You I think by you talking about stuff, it's amazing if you just start talking about how if you talk about your struggles, it just frees people up completely to actually admit like, hey, I need some help.
Yeah.
And it's a legit thing.
Yeah, and all it really takes is like what you just said is just bringing it up, because there have been times that, like I can tell, like there was a time when I was an instructor that, dudes would come in to work like blasted, drunk,
Mm-hmm. Oh
and
yeah,
go pass out under a desk, and it was like, yeah, he's dealing with something, and
yeah.
it's you go to that guy and you're like, hey man, like, and I would use my own issues to like kind of open the door and be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey man, I not like, hey, I know you're dealing with something, but more, hey, can you help me with this
Mm-hmm.
thing I'm dealing with? And right when I opened up with someone, they would then feel like okay, it's cool to open up. Because
Yep.
that's the thing about the dynamic in the military, especially in
Mm-hmm.
special operations. It's like dog eat dog, sort of like wolf pack. Like any sort of
Mm-hmm.
weakness that exists gets attacked immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And so all you got to do is just show a little bit of vulnerability, and then people understand like, okay, you're not here to try
Yeah.
and make me look like a fool or something, like, and then guys will open up. So all it takes is just a little bit of talking.
Yeah.
Makes a huge difference.
It's amazing how much just a little people talking about it can help so much.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you have the ability to relate to people that the average guy is not going to be able to relate to because they weren't there. They
Mhm.
can't. They so I think that's one of the cool places where you can shine is being able to relate to people, and they're going to be able. You're going to have something in common there that you know the average guy's just not going to have.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, and because like what you just said, that's kind of like part of
Mm-hmm.
the problem. And
Yeah.
a lot of people do comparison. They go like, hey, well, I only had this many deployments, or I didn't see
Mm-hmm.
combat, or I mean, the thing is like in those sort of communities, like you never did enough. There's always someone
Yeah.
cooler than you that did more, and it's like it's stupid. Like, and not only that, not even if you're like removed from the military, like full
Mm-hmm.
disclosure, like I was so bad at one point that I had to go to inpatient and to get fixed or to like learn what was going on with me. And while I was there, like I thought I was this like unique little butterfly that
Yeah.
had very like problems that no one could understand,
Yep.
sort of deal. And I saw everyone else dealing with the same
Mm-hmm.
stuff, but all their experiences were different. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, holy crap, like trauma is trauma. Like you don't choose what affects you. It's not like you go out
Yeah.
the door, because some people will look at like what bothered them and be like, "Oh, well, I don't deserve to seek help because this guy had this thing that happened to him is so much
Mm-hmm.
worse." It's like, dude, you didn't choose for your brain to latch onto that and then have
Mm-hmm.
all these physical reactions that you're going through now. And you gotta leave that at the door. Like the experience itself, yes, it's important, but the symptoms are the same with everyone. We all are
Yep.
dealing with the same stuff, and a lot of the uh, tips, techniques, like tools, whatever you want to call them, to deal with this stuff is all the same. It's just your experience is unique, but the symptoms are not.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to stop comparing your experience with other people's, because that doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone tries to compare and say that you don't deserve, to feel or like go through the things you're going
Mm-hmm.
through, then they have a lot of growing to do themselves.
Yep.
So if you're dealing with anything, regardless of whether you feel like you deserve to have treatment or not, like you need to go through with it, because you're hurting just as bad as the guy,
Yep.
that went through what you consider to be so much more.
Yep.
So
I love it. I don't know if you watched it or not, but Tucker Carlson's interview with Sean Ryan
Yeah, Sean Ryan's
the
awesome.
other week. Man, he's such a cool guy. But Tucker was talking about he was an alcoholic
Mhm,
for years, and he just stopped drinking. He never went to AA or anything.
mhm,
But a buddy of his, Russell Brand, was in town,
mhm.
and Russell goes to AA all the time.
Yeah.
And Tucker was like, "Why do you do that?" And he said, "It's where you meet honest people.
Mhm,
Like they're just honest."
yeah.
And I thought that was so cool. Like he just made that. He just likes to go because. So Tucker went with him, and he said it's just so refreshing to be in a room full of people just being honest.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really cool. It's the same way, no matter what. If you could just get people to sit down and talk, be vulnerable, and talk about their stuff, it brings people together a
Well, yeah.
lot. You know.
And part of that too, I mean, I never went I mean, I went to a couple AA stuffs or meetings, but because drinking was a huge thing for me. That was like my pastime, you know. But the thing is you really are who you hang out with, you know. And if you're
Yeah.
trying to better yourself, you need to like I. There was a point in time where I was like, I had taken a break. I had some stuff happen, and I was able to step away from being an instructor a little bit and handle my stuff. And I was improving, and I went right back to the community, and I started going downhill again because I started
Mm-hmm.
being around the guys that were doing all the stuff that I shouldn't have been doing, like the
Mm-hmm.
drinking and all that. So I went right back. I fell right back into old habits,
Yep.
and so I had to start removing myself. That's also part of the reason why I got out, was because I was like, I need to remove myself from the community because I no longer I couldn't handle it. You know, like
Yeah.
I was not the type of person that could function while doing all that stuff and keep
Mm-hmm.
my family. And my family became my priority. So I was like, all right, I'm done doing this.
Yeah.
And so going to a place like AA, some people look down at that like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
you can't handle it. You can't handle your own stuff. Well, guess what? You can't. You know,
Yeah.
like this is
Every,
where. Go ahead.
no flash, like news flash. Everybody's got something like that in their life. They can't
Exactly.
handle. Everybody.
Exactly. Yeah, and this is where we get into the discussion
Oh yeah.
of God and you know things like
Yep.
that, and that was something that was a very hard pill for me to swallow
Mm-hmm.
because I've grown up my entire life having to take care of myself and always
Mm-hmm.
only being able to rely on myself and being successful doing that until I wasn't, you
Yeah.
know. So everything started falling apart, and then I was like, oh wow, maybe I'm not all that I thought I was. You know, like it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm super good at all this stuff. You
Yeah.
know, if you look at me from the outside and all these things that I've accomplished and done and been through and stuff, it's like, wow, strong. And then I'm over here like not
Mm-hmm.
being able to handle being sad
Yeah.
or whatever. Now I'm drinking all that
Mm-hmm.
away because I'm seeking. That's the thing that people understand is you have these super strong guys that are like can shut things down and do some amazing stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but then you put them in a position where they actually have to feel and they can't handle it. It's
Yeah.
uncomfortable. We have this saying like be comfortable being
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
Because we suffer so much. And that's the
Yep.
thing. A lot of people look at special operations. They're like, wow, so cool. I'd love to do that. I'll just say that the cooler the thing is that you see on TV, the more miserable it is. And
You're
so
right.
we suffer a lot, and we're able to do it. We're able to separate our mind
Mm-hmm.
from suffering all this stuff. But you put us in a room by ourselves, and we can barely handle it. So it's like
Yep.
I'm just gonna kill that side of me with
Mm-hmm.
alcohol or whatever other drug, you know. And it's like even the people that you perceive to be these supermen are
Mm-hmm.
not supermen. You know, it's like we all have our flaws. None of us can handle this stuff on our own.
Yeah.
Like any self-made millionaire, any sort of like CEO, anything, they did not get there by themselves.
No.
They had people that made introductions. They had people that helped them along the way. No one does anything on them by themselves. And when it comes to some people also like we all think it's okay, like in CQB, for instance, it's like, it's okay. Like if you're like holding on a door, right. And you do not make a one-man entry unless it's like, there's no other choice or something, but
Mm-hmm.
you do not make a one-man entry. You hold on that danger area until you call for support. And when you get that, and you don't take your eyes off it, and then when you get that squeeze, then you go in with whoever it is with the rest of the stack. And we look at that as like that's a good thing, and like, oh, we're all okay with that. Like, you're not weak because you waited for support.
Mm-hmm.
But then people think that they're being weak by asking for support when it comes to
Yep.
mental health or emotions. And it's like, how can you not understand that they're the same thing? Well, I mean,
Yep.
I did for a long time. So I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I understand how people think it's not the same thing, but it is. And so even in that regard, you don't do anything by yourself. So this
Hmm.
whole like I'm this super guy and like I need to handle my own stuff and like I can't seek help because like that'll make me weak. It's like no,
Yep.
the fact that you're not seeking help, you're being weak by not doing that.
Yep.
You're making yourself a liability to your
Yep.
family and to the team. And so
Yep.
you need to get yourself in a good place because it's going to be that time when the team is counting on you
Hmm.
and you're debilitated because you weren't ready because you have all these issues that you're hiding.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, but I'll get off my high horse.
No, no. I mean, you just pull God into the mix a little bit, and it's like in that weakness is where he can really where he can be the strong one,
Yeah.
and learning to turn over and just accept that you can't do it is such a valuable thing. It's that's the life changing thing. Like when you realize I can't do this on my own,
Hmm.
you know, that's a life changing revelation.
Oh, and for the
You
better,
know,
and not even
oh,
like
so much for the better.
thing, like not
Yeah.
like oh trust in God and then
Oh
I'll
yeah.
be a millionaire or something.
Yeah.
But I will say that since and the thing was is like, dude, there are going to be people that see this that are from my past that are going to be like,
Yeah.
what? Like
Hmm.
I say that all the time. Like Tim believes in God. That's
Hmm.
crazy because I was the complete opposite of someone who would follow God in the
Yeah.
past, and just an absolute heathen. And
Yeah.
it's my life was horrible until
Hmm.
I accepted that I couldn't do things on my own, and then accepted Jesus into my heart. And it's like my life changed
Yeah.
completely. I mean, anxiety is a thing that is super huge for me when
Hmm.
it comes to the hypervigilance and like all that other
Hmm.
stuff. Being able to let go and just give it to God and not have to worry about this stuff. Ever since I started doing that, opportunity after opportunity after opportunity has
Yep.
like feels like it felt. Now it doesn't mean you don't got to do anything. You still got to do the work. You still got to be a
Oh,
good
it's still hard.
yeah, do the right thing. But
Yep.
if you do those things and you give the rest to God, like everything falls into place. Everything. I have not once seen it. And even when I think it's not falling into place, it's for a reason. And then the reason is then revealed in the future. And I'm like, oh man. And some people might look at
Hmm.
that like, no, it's coincidence. And it's like, dude, I'm telling you, with some of the things that I've been through and some of the like,
Hmm.
it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
it and I'll just leave it at that because I don't want to get like super preachy. But
Yeah.
man, like
You can preach all you want to on here, man. Doesn't bother me a bit.
yeah, dude, it has been
People need
like
to hear it.
yeah, and it's
People
yeah,
need to hear it
especially now.
right
And
now. Yep.
my entire family is saved
Hmm.
now, and dude, it is like completely changed us as a
Yeah.
family unit.
Yeah.
Like the church we go to, just everything about my life has improved, and I'm
Hmm.
actually way happier, less stressed. Like that was the thing, like because we have like all of our psychologists and stuff for a long time, like because we have a
Yeah.
big team of psychologists in special operations, both performance and
Hmm.
like actual like you have issues sort of deal.
Sure.
And the big thing they always say is mind, body, and spirit, like multi-dimensional operator. And the thing is I was always mind and body, feeding my
Yep.
mind, training my body, never
Hmm.
spirit. I was like, I don't need that. Like that's like woo-woo stuff that I don't need to know
Hmm.
about. All I want is like, I mean, not that I believed in Valhalla, but I was like one of those things
Yeah.
where it was like, I just want to like go to combat, die in combat, go to
Yeah.
Valhalla so that I can drink and train and then fight like in Ragnarok or something,
Yeah.
that I was telling myself. And I was miserable,
Hmm.
hated myself, hated my life,
Hmm.
hated everything around me, hated being itself. Started losing my mind because of that. And it wasn't until I like actually built that third pillar, which was the
Hmm.
spiritual, and actually sought and I started doing tons of research because I was seeking for God for a long time and couldn't make the jump of belief. I
Hmm.
had friends that were like, "You just got to believe," and I'm like, "What does that mean? What do you
What does that
mean?
mean? Yeah.
How do you do
Tell
that?"
tell that to somebody that has no concept of what
Yeah,
that even means.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it just it. I mean, this is kind of opening up another. like can of worms, and some people don't agree with this, but for me, I was hurting so bad that I had and this is another thing that Sean Ryan talks about a
Mm-hmm.
lot. But I had an experience with DMT,
Mm-hmm.
and what that did, and I asked myself a lot, like after that, I was able to believe in God and stuff, and I was like really asking myself, like, what was it about it? What was I missing? Why can I do it
Mm-hmm.
now and I couldn't do it then? And I came to the conclusion that it was pride.
Yeah.
That's all it was. I had so much pride in my own capabilities, in my own self, my own intelligence, my own strengths, that even though I was seeking for God, I was putting the wall up. It was like
Yeah.
one of those things that, like, if God was in front of me, I was like putting my hand in front of him
Mm-hmm.
and like looking around like,
Yeah.
where is he?
Yeah.
You know, sort of deal. And all I had to do was put my hand down, and that was really, my hand was just the pride. I had an ego death. I was able to understand that, like, dude, you are just a man.
Yeah.
You're not this. You're not more than what you know
Yeah.
than just that. You know, this
Mm-hmm.
fallen creature that needs
Yeah.
salvation. You know, and so once I got rid of that ego and that pride, which, by the
Mm-hmm.
way, I'm still a super egotistical person. That's something I'm not like some Zen master or something
Yeah.
now, so something I'm always working on, but I was able to drop enough of my pride to be able to go, okay, like this is
Mm-hmm.
real. I
Yeah.
can, and not only do I want this for me, but I really want this for my family.
Yeah.
And this was one thing, dude, I didn't even know. My wife wanted to be saved, but she wasn't doing it because of me, so
Mm-hmm.
once I stepped up and did it, then it was like, okay, now we're good. Now we
Yeah.
can move forward, and everything changed for the
Yeah.
better.
And just knowing your whole, like, and I'm sure I don't know your whole story, but just your family, the transformation that's happened in that, the revelation of the cross is a powerful, powerful thing. And
Mhm.
it just changes things.
Yeah.
People, I mean, people's like with your family and everything. It's just beautiful. You people are my favorite. Like just feel like good old heathens that just get
Yeah. Oh man. Oh, gosh.
get
You have no idea too. Like once we
yeah.
actually go into it, the people that listen
I
to
know.
those podcasts about like
Yeah.
my life and some of the stuff I was doing,
Mhm.
like they're just gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
Like it
I
sounds like
know.
a movie. It really does.
I
Like
know.
yeah,
The first time you told it to me, I had I it was so unbelievable.
yeah,
Because I was on the way home. I was coming from home from Tennessee that first time I talked to you, and I was like,
yeah,
Lord, is this real? Like, is this really real? It's just, I'm telling you, man, like, that's just a testament that Jesus loves you. You know, I mean, it's just amazing. It's just, I'll tell you what, you guys listening, if you think you've had a rough life, wait till you hear this guy's story. It brings a new perspective.
And what's crazy is it's like, and I think about this a lot too. Like,
Yeah.
I have a good life, or I had a
Yeah.
good life compared to others. It
You
gets
had, yeah,
worse. There's no like rock bottom. It
right.
only goes like hell has
Mm-hmm.
no ending depth. It is
Mm-hmm.
like everlasting, just like eternity. Like, and
Yep.
that's actually, if you think that there's anything on earth is bad, you
Just
have,
wait.
man, you have no
Yeah.
idea. It's
You
like
just,
it continues down and down and down, and
yeah.
there's no end to it.
Well, isn't that the path of sin in general? It's
Yeah,
just your whole life just keeps tanking into a never ending abyss.
yeah,
Like it just keeps going. I
mhm.
mean, there's no upside to that.
Yeah,
And man, I don't know. I just love it. I think I can't wait to get this story on film. So
mhm.
that's the videographer side of me that's excited for your story to be told. For one, it's like you said earlier. You think you're the only one out there,
Mhm. Yeah,
but that's so not that. It's just not true. I mean,
yeah,
as the struggles and stuff that you've walked through, I heard a person tell me one time, the worst thing you ever through is still the worst thing you've ever been through.
yeah, yeah. That is very true.
And everybody's level of like trauma and stuff is relative. It's still the worst thing they've ever been through.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it can still have it's the same effect regardless.
Mhm.
And so, man, seeing people set free and stuff, that's my favorite thing on earth.
Yeah.
It literally is why I live. Is I just love to see it, and so I'm excited.
Same.
Well, well, this was. I tell you what, I think the ending was better in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. I
We'll do
agree.
this some more. I think this is. I love doing these conversations,
Hmm.
and I like this format here. This works really good.
Yeah, I agree. I like
So
it.
we'll do some more of it. Well, guys, thanks for listening in and hanging with us. We've had a good crowd with us the whole time we've been live. So thank you guys. I'll make double check Instagram to make sure there's nothing I missed. Oh, yeah, just people. Yeah, that ending part really resonated with people.
Cool.
Awesome. That's what we like to hear. All right. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. And I'm going to end the stream. You guys have a good rest of your evening, your Sunday. And we'll make sure you check out Ridge Runner Blades tomorrow. All these knives will be online probably around 12 Eastern time. We'll probably have everything completed and online. So I appreciate you guys.